The 100 Season 2, Episode 11, Coup de Grace. Without a doubt, this is one of the best episodes this show has had so far. Like, the main overall story was definitely really great. There were some really great moments. But honestly, it was just some of the dialogue in this episode that had me so excited. Like, some of the best stuff. And because, like, I just finished the episode, the biggest thing in this one was definitely Clarke talking to her mother, saying, like, you may be the chancellor, but I'm in charge. Without a doubt, like, the greatest dialogue in the episode for sure. And it was just like a holy crap moment because I had no idea what was going to happen there. The tension, it had constantly been building in this episode, and it was like the whole thing is, of course, Clarke has been, kind of seen as the leader of everyone from the Ark. Like, she's the leader of the Sky People, and for the Grounders, it's Alexia. Or Alexa, I guess that's how you say her name. And it was just really cool. Like, in this episode, it was really put into the forefront, and it didn't even seem like it was. Like, she was targeted. She was one of the targets. It was her. It was like the two commanders, basically. And she was one of the targets and not her mother. And her mother was the one who really brought that up. Like, they think we're being led by a child. And it was, that line was said before, and I think it was basically the same two people as her mother. And I swear I cannot think of the guy's name anymore, but the guy who basically used to be a dick, but now he's actually a good guy. And I actually like his character a lot more than I used to. So that's another good thing about this show. They can actually change how you feel about certain characters. But it was really cool. It was like, the Grounders are being led by a child. And then he was like, so are we. And it was just really good. Like, in this episode, it was really the forefront of, like, if it wasn't Mount Weather, it was definitely that. It was like Clarke being the leader of everyone from the Ark. She is like the correspondent. She's the one who knows what's really going on. She was kind of like half leader when they first started out the series. It was like her and Bellamy. She was kind of like the nice leader, really, and Bellamy was like the not so nice leader. And now it's really just like everyone's just working together, and she's kind of just the leader in general, and that's how it is. And this episode just really brought it up, and it did it well. It did unbelievably well, I think, especially, towards the end of the episode where she did decide to go against her mother. Initially, she was working with her mother. It was like, we can't torture this guy because torturing him won't work. She said it when she was by herself with Indra, so it wasn't just that her mom said it. She thought the same thing. Like, she told Indra, you can't do that because torturing him isn't going to make him talk. He might just talk because we saved his life. He didn't, and she still agreed with her mother, like, we can't just torture him because that's not going to make him talk. And I thought she changed at the end of the episode. I thought she was going to force him to talk because she kind of snapped, like, we haven't been able to move fast enough because there's too much going against us. And I thought she was just going to hit that button and be like, if you don't talk, I'm killing you right now, which really would have been something to see for her character. But she still played it really well. It was really cool. And she was like, she got the guy out. Here's a message. She had a super badass moment when she was like, it's an 8-hour walk, and she just let the air out. So it was like 6 hours. So I thought that was really cool of her, and also kind of the same thing. I mean, you cut something down from 8 hours to 6 hours. That's a huge difference, and she just let him go, like, in the darkness. I mean, if it was like broad daylight, maybe it would be a little bit different. You can run as fast as you want. You're in the middle of the night. You trip once, it's probably game over. Like, it's just a lot of different factors in that. But just story-wise, like, just basic stuff, like her cutting it down by 2 hours and saying, like, go and give this message, definitely really amazing. I love that scene. It was really cool. And, just everything about it was just really well played. We didn't get to see anything of, the Grounder side of things because she wasn't targeted. I have to assume she's, like, back at her base or wherever. And it was just really cool. Like, I really loved the episode. I love both sides of it, but, that was just, like, her dialogue and some of the stuff that happened, the tension that constantly built where it's like, Clarke doesn't really want to go against her own mother, but it's like, hey, by the end of the episode, it's like, you have to trust that I know what the heck's going on. I was the one sent down here. I had to, kind of be one of the leaders to help these people survive up to this point so we could even be a part of the Ark now and be with everyone else who did survive. and she wants to take control. Like, she has the control. She's had the experiences, young as she might be, obviously, compared to her own mother. It's still, experience based. Like, well, I can't say the same thing for, like, Alexa and how all that stuff went, but with Clarke, we've actually seen her character grow and develop, and how she's had to be a leader in, like, the most insane circumstances and stuff, and now she's working with the other leader, and then we have Mount Weather, which is just going crazy, and this was without a doubt my favorite episode for the Mount Weather stuff as well. But all the stuff with Clarke was really good. We got to see her kind of confront Raven a little bit. We got to see their interaction, and it was good. Like, it was small because it kind of got cut off by, like, really good news for them. But it was good to see Raven in this episode, and we got to see her kind of confront Clarke, like, hey, I'm basically just still mad at you because, she had no idea what was going to happen with Finn. And, he dies and she had no idea, and Clarke's the one that did it. That hurt her, obviously, and she's still incredibly hurt by that, and she doesn't really have the utmost respect for Clarke at this point in time. But she's trying to keep things going. She's trying to make stuff work and really save people just like Clarke is. Save, the rest of I think it's 47 in there now. So she's still trying to save the 47 from Mount Weather, and she just still has that in the back of her mind. Like, I lost this guy who's incredibly important to me ever since, I was like a kid or something. And it was really cool to finally get that real confrontation. It was, like I said, it was really small, so I do hope that we get a kind of the next level of that, which we have to, because they didn't exactly resolve anything. But it was cool to get that real first step, because really we only got to see Raven just kind of being mad. I think we got it a little bit a couple episodes ago when the commander was basically tricked by a right-hand man when he poisoned himself. We got a little bit out of that with her and Clarke kind of being in close proximity. But we still didn't really get just a lot out of them together and kind of officially resolving things, because, when someone else kills someone that you care about and you have no idea, you think, like, she's going to save this person, that's a real big switch. Like, that's a complete 180. I mean, she literally went, like, oh, she's going to save Finn, and she went to kill Finn. So, it's literally the opposite sides of the coin. So, I can't wait to see them really hash things out, and I don't know what it's going to take, but I have to assume a crazy war with people with assault rifles and lasers and acid fog, that'll probably do the trick. That's, somewhere in there, they'll find a way to resolve their issues. But I love that side of the storyline. Of course, the Mount Weather stuff was absolutely amazing. Dante, once again, is, like, just the best person ever. Like, I love his character. Like, Jasper, like, losing it in this episode, I enjoyed as well. Like, he's like, I'm losing my friends. I lost my best friend. I don't know what the heck's happening. He's been gone for days. Harper had been gone even longer. They were doing all sorts of experiments on him. I have to assume it was still, like, the crazy bone marrow stuff. And, he goes in, tries to get Dante. He, like, pulls the sword on him and everything. And Dante, like, reverses it. And it was just great. It was like he had the sword on him. And I knew he wasn't going to hurt him. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, though. And when he called the guy in, it was like, find my son and Dr. Singh. It was just like, that was another, I think that was the first time in this episode where the dialogue was just like, it was simple when he said that, but it was just the implications of it. Like, he's this leader who is, like, by the books, like 100%, especially in this episode, you see it. He is, like, the good guy in Mount Weather, and unfortunately, he's the face that is kind of controlling a corrupt body, in an odd way to put it, but that's pretty much what's happening with his character, and he's trying to do everything right. He basically did the best thing he could have possibly done in this episode. It was like, find my son, find Dr. Singh, all of you, you're going home. Like, you're not safe here. This is just a bunch of crap. I don't want to harvest a bunch of kids. I don't care if we're, able to live on the ground permanently. We can't do it this way. We're not going to do crazy experiments and, all sorts of stuff. I mean, he walked in, and Harper, she's just got bruises, and her face is all messed up, and she's about to get, like, an arm, or a drill, like, put through her arm, and all sorts of crazy stuff. Monty was just in the little cage, and all this extra stuff, and he was just an amazing character like facing off against this stuff. He had Dr. Singh arrested. Of course, he was about to have his son arrested, and that was it. Like, I knew it had to happen at some point. I think we kind of got the best possible outcome with that because at least for now he's only in quarantine. He wasn't like just killed off. His son didn't say like, well, you're gonna be in the way, I gotta kill you, dad. So I'm really glad we didn't get it that way because it kind of gives us hope like something's gonna happen. We have Bellamy on the inside. Maya's helping him out, and that's incredibly dangerous for him because it's like, not only does he have to walk around during the day, but it's like at night I'm sure they're like night guards and stuff when he's supposed to be sleeping or trying to get rest. I don't think anyone really has like their own place except maybe like I would assume Dante does or like in a couple of other people, but for the most part it's just like this little compound. I know it has a bunch of levels, but for sure everyone doesn't get their own space to sleep, so there's going to be a whole other level to that where Bellamy has to find a way to stay protected and stay hidden even during the night. But I love Dante in this episode. He was really cool. It was just like all the crappy stuff that's happening, I'm going to fix that. Of course, he wasn't able to fix that, which I definitely expected. And like I said, I think we got the best outcome because at least he wasn't killed off, so there's still hope that if things do, kind of go the way that Bellamy and Clarke kind of wanted to, we won't see Dante get killed off, but he will be able to take control again from his son. And basically he'll tell everyone like, hey, this is what's happening from now on. Either like, of course if this stuff goes right with Bellamy and Clarke, there's no way they're going to be able to harvest anyone, period. So there are a couple of different dynamics to that. Like, Dante's the good guy, but at the same time, like his son did point out, like, we've been doing this for generations. It's not like the people from the Ark are new or anything. They've been taking in grounders for years and years and decades. So, it's not like it's anything brand new, but it is a little bit different when it's not the grounders who admittedly do attack everyone. I mean, they attacked the 100 as soon as they landed, and there was like no reason for that. So it is a tiny bit different, admittedly. It still sucks that they do that, but it is technically still a little different. And then you have people who are coming in, and technically the grounders were killing them off as well. And then it's like, well, they're even better, so let's harvest them. But he was a good guy, through and through. Now he's just in quarantine and stuff, so that kind of sucks for him. But I'm excited to see where that goes. Everyone's locked up in the dorm, and they got Maya and Bellamy on the outside. He was able to get the contact back to Camp Jaha, so that was really nice. And like I said, we're gonna have to see how he's able to circumvent just getting busted really 24/7. And I don't know if it's gonna have such a huge impact, but it definitely did, at least for a small portion of this episode, when they came across Lovejoy's son, and it was just like, it was almost just like a devastating blow to both Bellamy and Maya, because it was like they had to get out of there. That's what they had to do. And they killed this guy off, which, by the way, I forgot to mention those two scenes. That scene was unbelievably intense, like him physically choking this guy and them just having like a straight up fight because they couldn't shoot the gun off, and the woman like helping Bellamy at the last minute where she grabs the guy's arm with the scalpel, or the hand with the scalpel in it, and Bellamy's able to kill him, and he just chokes him. Like, it is 100% just brutal, and that was like a crazy scene. And I think that's one of the reasons, like that scene right there is without a doubt one of the main reasons this show does so well, because they have those incredibly intense scenes, and this was definitely one of them. And then also in the very beginning when they had like the basically the cleansing scene where they were like putting the powder on him and spraying him and stuff, I thought that was a great looking scene. I liked the focus and how certain stuff was blurry and how they used the slow motion and stuff. I thought that was like, just camera wise, I thought it looked really cool. It didn't have too much to do with the story or anything like that. It was just like, this is the prep. But it was a really cool looking scene. Like, we saw not just Bellamy, but like a ton of other people, like them getting hit with the yellow powder and stuff, and it burns and all that. I thought it was just a great looking scene. Like, it was like they had the slow motion and they would do like the zooms and all that stuff. I thought that looked really well. So I'm glad the fight scene kind of reminded me of that, because it was really good. But Bellamy and Maya seeing Lovejoy's son was definitely an intense moment. You know, it was yet another intense moment in the episode. And, you know, that's kind of when it hit Bellamy. Like, there aren't, you know, it's not just adults. You know, there are kids here. And, you know, that, of course, is just an emotional thing to see. Like, I had to kill this guy who, of course, would have killed me. It's not like he would have been like, I'll let it go. So it's not like he just did that for no reason, but he still killed this guy whose son is just like happy-go-lucky, being a kid as he should be. And, you know, he has that kind of devastating knowledge just like Maya does. And it's like, things are going to be a little different. And I hope that does happen. I hope we get to see that in the next episode where it is an emotional impact on Bellamy, because a lot of the characters admittedly don't get that. Like, honestly, Finn had it when he kind of went nuts, and when he was looking for Clarke, he was going crazy. When he shot up the camp and she was there, admittedly, he didn't go crazy after that because he was already, like, just 100% crazy at that point. But we don't get to see a lot of the characters, you know, really have to deal with a life or death situation, and then even after surviving something where the only other option was them dying, we don't see them survive that and then still, you know, maybe not wish it was different or wish it was reversed, but they do wish it was different in some way, because I'm sure, you know, mentally Bellamy was just like, man, if I could have somehow stopped that guy without completely killing him, this would just be, you know, nothing. He'd be locked up or something, no big deal. But now it's going to be a little different, and that could easily affect Maya a bit more than Bellamy, so we'll have to wait and see. But I'd love it if it affected both of them somehow, like it, and it probably will in the next episode, because they don't exactly have anyone else to kind of bounce off of. It's just like we kind of have to work things out together because everyone else is locked up in the dorm. Of course, Dante's in quarantine. So with just the two of them knowing exactly what happened, they don't have anyone else to kind of distract them. So I feel like we will get that in the next episode, and I definitely hope we do. But everything about this one was definitely intense, definitely great. I can't wait to see all the craziness with Mount Weather shooting a missile at someone. I don't know if they're shooting it at Camp Jahad, because they're of course watching them. We saw that in this episode a lot. And they're obviously watching the Grounders as well, specifically Alexa's camp and where she is right now. So I don't know who's being targeted exactly, but they have a missile that's going to be launched and it's going to go somewhere. So I'm of course very excited to see how that, of course, how all that craziness plays out as well. But I do want to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and what do you guys think is going to happen with Bellamy? Like, how is he going to stay hidden when he doesn't really have anywhere to go? Like, the only place he could have gone that would have been safe was the dorm, which of course just gets locked like right in front of him, which really sucked. I was hoping he'd be able to like talk with everyone, and then, you know, maybe things would go crazy after that. But, you know, things have to go wrong in TV. That's just how it is. But like I said, I want to know what you guys think. I know this is a long review, but yeah, there's just so much that had to be said about this episode. Like, I think it was just one of the best. We didn't get to see anything from Jaha and Murphy in this one with them going off to the City of Light. So we'll probably get that in next week's episode, and that'll be like the side story, and the main story will be pretty much just the all-out war aspect of it, with obviously missiles going off and all that craziness. But I'm excited for that. But like I said, please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.